So this obliterates the even the possibility of having objective knowledge in their worldview. The only thing you can do is through blind faith and circular reasoning just assert that what you believe is the real true belief.
We know how to interpret the Bible from like we have a history of like scholars, tons of scholars.
Then why have there been so many thousands of Christian denominations?
Because people disagree, like even
So you
scientists and
can't
even
interpret it.
mathematicians. Even mathematicians, without the Christian worldview, you couldn't justify the existence of physical objects. You wouldn't have a way to delineate between the external and internal world.
Where do your
The state of
beliefs in the Christian God exist? In the external world or in your internal world?
my beliefs would exist in my mind.
Okay, so how do you, despite the fact that that belief only exists in your mind, how do you use it to justify that things exist?
I've been studying the transcendental argument for God, and I think it's like an objective way to prove God exists with like
Okay.
some of
Sorry,
the
if
best
if
evidence.
if you wouldn't mind for our audience, because there are probably people in our audience who aren't familiar with the tag
Yeah.
argument. If you wouldn't mind just giving a quick overview of it, that would be helpful.
Yeah, the only problem with the argument is it's kind of complicated because it gets kind of heavy into philosophy, but it's sort of like if you could imagine entering a movie halfway through the movie, it would be hard to
Access
know.
to write in the side chat because I can give you permission to post it in the side chat if you need it.
Oh, that's
Okay.
fine. No, I don't.
But yeah, so
But like,
let's
imagine
give P Mars a chance to explain without interruption.
imagine you like enter a movie halfway through a movie. Well, it's going to be hard to like interpret and evaluate what's going on in the movie because you're missing like the context of the beginning of the movie that might inform you as to like some of the motivations of the characters or what's going on. And so when we debate, we're in a similar situation where before we even come to the debate, we all have like background beliefs that inform how we evaluate and interpret evidence. And so what we do with the transcendental argument for God is we examine those like background beliefs about how we evaluate evidence at all, and we determine like what model or what system of truth, what way, what's the best way to evaluate evidence in the first place, and we sort of argue about that. Like, imagine if you're a naturalist, right? A naturalist is someone who believes all there is like natural explanations for any phenomena. They're going to search for a natural explanation. And me as a Christian, I believe in the supernatural, and I might try to convince you like,
That's bullshit.
well, Jesus resurrected from the dead because God resurrected him. Let's say I do convince you like with the evidence, the historical evidence or something. But if you still maintain your naturalistic framework or your naturalistic model of reality, you're going to come up with a natural explanation for how Jesus resurrected. And so I think we need to attack like, or the debate is going to be about like how do we interpret evidence in the first place, because I could throw like 1,000 evidences at you, but if you already like don't really accept supernatural reasons before you even like look at the evidence, then it doesn't I can throw a million evidences at you and you're not going to like believe in God. So that's kind of what tag's about. I don't know if I did a good job of explaining it, but we just examine the models of reality and we say what's like the most coherent and sensible model of reality. And we're going to say obviously the Christian models it describes reality better. So
Okay, thanks
because
for
when you
explaining that. And just for future reference for our audience, a lot of people refer to this as the tag argument, which is
yeah,
tag is an acronym for Transcendental Argument for God. Am I correct, P Mars?
yeah. And when I'm talking to atheists specifically, I like to bring up the fact that I think atheism undermines science,
Psychoactive gaze, I think.
because I think science is this like where we're gonna look at the world and we're gonna find meaning of the world apart from like human minds, so like objective knowledge of the world. But without like a designer and a god, there'd be like no intrinsic meaning in the world, and any of the meaning that we would come up with in the world would just be like conventions of our minds, and there'd be no like true meaningful like objective knowledge. It would just be like based on what we think.
Oh, that's silly.
And
So I
so
think
I think
so.
Christianity is necessary to like save science. Like I think atheism kind of destroys the potential for science to make knowledge claims. So
P.
I could
Mars,
just push back on. Okay, Planet. You're by all means, and then I'll go after.
so P. Mars, you said no intrinsic meaning. Do things exist?
I mean, I believe I believe they do, but I think
Okay.
without the Christian worldview, you couldn't justify the existence of physical objects.
Well, you said you couldn't justify the existence of objects. So how is it that I'm holding a pen in my hand? How is it that I require a God concept to justify the idea that I have a pen in my hand? Because to me, it's grounded in a physical reality.
Because you wouldn't have a way to delineate between the external and internal world.
What is the external world? What is the internal world?
Well, that I think
Are you talking about
Christianity.
Are you talking about nature versus the content of my mind?
Well, I don't know. Are you familiar with Immanuel Kant and the like
Just-
phenomenal versus noumenal?
Just what is the external world? What is the internal world? Internal world sounds like the mind to me.
Yeah, the internal world, like you could think of it as like a dream versus like.
Okay. Where do your
state of the
beliefs in the Christian God exist? In the external world or in your internal world?
My beliefs would exist in my mind.
Okay, so how do you, despite the fact that that belief only exists in your mind, how do you use it to justify that things exist?
So we get from Revelation, like the Bible, we get our metaphysics, epistemology, and ethics. And we know that the world is, we can justify the existence of the physical world because the Bible says God created it.
So we can walk past that that's completely circular, but you're just describing to me more of your internal beliefs. And I have a worldview that tells me, well, this pen really exists. I mean, my experience with this pen comes from my internal environment, I guess. I can't conceptualize it or understand it in any way except in that, but I think it's grounded in the material reality in front of me. But I don't think you've presented anything special or unique because you're just relying on, excuse me, on your beliefs, which are just in your internal environment.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say that, but any skeptic could come along and challenge, like, how do you justify that the pen in your hand is real? And you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, but neither can you.
No, I can because the Bible says it's real.
Where
So
does
that
the
would be a
Bible say that the pen is real?
It says the external world is real in Genesis when God created the external world, so we know that it's real.
That's
but
okay. I have a science textbook that says the universe exists there.
It's so silly. I know exactly.
I don't know. He might be trolling. I don't know.
I'm not. No, I was just talking about epistemic justification. Like that's the issue. Like,
P-Mars, can I ask you just a few things, or also
Yeah, sure.
push back? So, you said that it was a movie halfway through. I agree because I think that when it comes to creationism, they are coming to the movie and presupposing what it should have been without actually using any tools except for the Bible. And so you said that it somehow we're trying to ruin science or something like that, but it has been basically the religious who have been attacking science for the past few hundred years because they don't like things like evolution and the Big Bang. Designers, I'll also continue to push back that designers are a new concept. They've only existed for a few billion years, as far as we can tell. And so it doesn't seem like the universe is contingent on a designer. In fact,
But I think what P. Mars was saying is that under atheism, science won't survive. Maybe P. Mars would like to clarify what his thinking was on that after you finish, Amy.
sure, I was just saying that would be very silly because Christianity as a religion hasn't really given much to science. There are Christians, individual Christians, who did work and help contribute to science, but that's because science is a peer-reviewed process made up of by people. And so, yeah, a few
Also,
points there.
another important thing is this argument. It does not allow anybody to do anything they couldn't otherwise do except try to win arguments. You cannot take these principles and these presuppositions and use it to do better science or to build a better bicycle for Jesus or anything like that. It has zero practical utility.
Yeah, so the idea is that like there's skeptical philosophers, like you could look at Berkeley or Hume and their arguments, and they're going to say like we can't justify our belief in the external world. And there's another philosopher, Immanuel Kant, and he said this is a great scandal of science and philosophy that there's no proof of the existence of the external world. And Kant came up with his like transcendental idealism program to save science and philosophy, but
His weight loss program.
Yeah,
well,
it
we
was
would
a
say he
pyramid scheme.
failed. Like I don't think what he did works. Like because I think basically the only way we can justify our belief in the external world is through Christian revelation. So
Does Satan exist in your worldview?
no,
You don't believe in Satan?
Satan isn't a person; it's a title, like adversary. Or
Yes, I
something like
know that. So there's no such. So is there a hell, and then is there a person that rules over hell, who literally fell from heaven?
I mean, I don't know what happens after we die. It's kind of hard for me to answer that.
Okay, do you think that the devil, Lucifer, Satan, whatever exists?
No.
No. You're a very odd Christian.
In his defense, Planet Peterson, theists make it up as they go along.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like Jesus, he's a carpenter who builds stairs, and he was thinking 2 steps ahead of me, because in the Christian worldview, there is Satan who has dominion over this earth, and people who are the Bible has many quotes like this. If reason guides you away from your faith, then abandon your reason. And there are things such as like what Paul says, that there's nothing of this earth that is not of God, that is not of Satan. And so people say that, if you vote Democrat, or if you have a pride flag, or if you got a vaccine, that's because Satan, tricked you, tempted you, whatever. So in the Christian worldview, Satan has dominion over this earth, and he has powers that humans are powerless to do anything about, and he could deceive anybody. And so this obliterates the even the possibility of having objective knowledge in their worldview. The only thing you can do is through blind faith and circular reasoning just assert that you have not been corrupted by Satan's temptations or anything like that, and that what you believe is the real, true belief. So it's all quite silly.
I mean, we have like hermeneutics. There's ways we know how to interpret the Bible from like we have a history of like scholars, tons of scholars.
Then why have there been so many thousands of Christian denominations?
Because people disagree. Like even scientists,
so you can't interpret
even mathematicians, even mathematicians will disagree over math, which is supposed to be like objective, right?
But once a proof is solved, they don't disagree over what it says.
People disagree in all fields. So if you're gonna like say, well,
to some extent,
Christians disagree, therefore Christianity is not true.
You said you know how to get to the truth because you have an objective, because you have the Bible, and the Bible is objective and perfect. Yet people read that same book and they come to very different conclusions that have led to some pretty dramatic schisms. And you say, yeah, it's because they interpreted it differently. So
Well, yeah,
you're arguing against yourself more effectively than any of us could. I'm just here to point it out.
I don't think you're doing a very good job. Do you have any actual like argument why like Christianity's not true?
Yeah,
I didn't say it's not true. You just can't justify it to the extent that you think you can.
Well, I think you can. We can have the best evidence for Christianity, like almost near certainty, because the transcendental proof is like near certain.
An argument doesn't prove anything.
Arguments are proofs. Like that just shows you're ignorant as to like.
Okay, then there is a God-defeating penguin that necessarily must exist. Therefore, your God doesn't exist.
I mean, if you look up like what an argument, like a proof, it's gonna say a proof is an argument. It's like the definition of the word. So like, how are you
I
like
just proved
determining
that God doesn't exist because that penguin.
You don't even know how to prove.
Exist.
You don't even know how to prove anything is true. Like, why are you even commenting on this matter?
Well,
you don't even know what a proof is.
See, you're relying on your presupposition that your God allows you to be able to make those kinds of distinctions, but actually the God-defeating penguin exists, so your belief is false. Your presupposition is false.
See, this is what they got. So what's your epistemology? Like, how do you determine what's true or not true?
Is that from? Sorry, I'm reading some texts over here.
Can I answer?
Yeah,
I would say that which conforms with reality, but Amy, go ahead.
And I'm sorry, Planet. I don't
prove reality exists.
I feel like I sometimes step on you. I just get excited. Don't mind me. But I, as far as justified true beliefs, know that Jesus did not resurrect from the dead. And so, help me out here. How can Christianity be the foundation of knowledge when I know that the foundation of the Christian belief is not true?
How do you know it's not true? Because you know Jesus didn't resurrect?
Correct, because biologically speaking, that's not how human flesh works 72 hours after decay.
Yeah, but we think it's a miracle, so.
Sure. Can I give you also a counter question? Do you think that it's possible that Caesar was resurrected?
I mean, it's possible.
Okay, but do you think it happened?
I don't think it happened, no.
I think it's possible Jesus was resurrected. I don't think he was.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
Where's the intellectual integrity of just saying, yeah, but it was a miracle, therefore? I mean, now we're in the make-believe land of literally anything is possible.
But if you're a Christian, you believe in miracles.
Okay, well, I believe in Zip Zop, and Zip Zop is the actual true God, and everything is the miraculous creation of him, and you are led astray. So, literally anybody can make these arguments.
It's
justified on nothing but blind faith and circular reasoning. I believe it because I believe it, and I have a book that says that it's true. Well, I have a book, and my book is true. There, that proves it.
All he's trying to do, Peterson, is reject the self-evident truth of our shared naturalistic, atheistic reality that's been revealed to all of sound mind through both natural and special revelation. He already knows the truth. He just wants to reject it in his unrighteousness because he wants sin and evil to exist outside of a conceptual nature. He wants to be a main character in the battle of good and evil.
So I just reject this idea that, I believe it based on blind faith, because I have objective proof that Christianity is true.
No, you do not. You have an argument.
The best type of evidence like you can even possibly have.
What is it?
So
what is it?
It's reductio ad absurdum that we would argue.
So an argument, okay.
There's no well, of course arguments are proof. There's no direct argument for logic.
They absolutely are not.
There's no direct argument for logic, but we could prove logic is true because of the impossibility of the contrary. Because to deny logic, you would have to use logic to deny it. So it's impossible to deny logic. So we say it's true to the impossibility of the contrary. It's the same thing with Christianity. If you deny Christianity, you will be made a fool, not in a name-calling sense, but that your worldview would be absurd. You couldn't delineate between truth and fiction. And therefore, due to the impossibility of the contrary, you couldn't even deny Christianity because you would have to use Christianity to deny Christianity, just like
Christianity is not the same as logic.
You're presupposing that your religion is correct and that no other religion can be correct. I will just presuppose that my religion that I have just made up right now is the actual one true one, and you've been deceived.
I'm not presupposing it without evidence, though. We're proving it. We can prove that you need a revelatory.
Evidence?
Yeah, I have evidence.
I thought an argument could prove it.
Arguments are evidence.
Okay, all people named P. Mars are wrong. Your name is P. Mars, therefore you are wrong. There, I have just proven it. Do you agree?
Well, that's unsound, though.
Oh, so an argument doesn't prove it because you don't know the soundness of the premises?
Well, a sound argument.
Right, okay, so on what grounds do you justify that your tag argument has sound premises?
Because we can show with auxiliary arguments that the premises are accurate.
With more arguments? So I'll just make more arguments that all people named P. Mars are wrong.
Yeah, but you wouldn't be able to do that.
Yes, I could.
Okay, go. Let's hear it then.
All I would need to know is like when your birthday was, and then I could say all people born on this day are also wrong. You were born on this day, therefore you are wrong.
Yeah, but you can never support that because it's just like obviously like you're just making stuff up.
So are you.
No, I'm not making stuff up.
Yes, you are. Well, you're regurgitating other made up things. So
no, it's not made up. There's a whole history of God interacting with his people.
So you're not relying on arguments. You are using empiricism to verify or support your
empiricism
claims.
would be an argument. Empirical evidence would be based on arguments too.
Okay, this is brain rot at this point. Somebody else have fun with it.
You're just an idiot, dude.
If I were an idiot, I would say that empirical evidence is an argument, but luckily I'm not.
Yeah, P. Mars, we want data. Like when you were saying it's the best type, like even if we were to accept arguments or if we were to presuppose logic, that doesn't mean that it's empirical data, which is, in my opinion, the best evidence that's out there. And it's at least that we have so far. And it's weird that God can't give us the best evidence.
It is the best. What do you mean God's made it undeniable that he exists?
Then why do we deny it?
No, they made it only...
Because you suppress the truth and unrighteousness.
You can't... No, but we don't believe it. So you can't...
Wait a minute!
You can't.
I already pointed out how he's rejecting the truth in his unrighteousness, and he just tried.
Yeah,
he just dropped a worldview body double of my argument. I'm very, very disappointed in you, P. Mars. Is that the best you can bring? Is just a worldview body double of atheist presuppositional apologetics? You're talking to Planet Peterson here.
There's no such thing as atheist presuppositional apologetics.
Oh, you're talking to the premier atheist presuppositionalist himself, Taco.
It's even written on the website.
P. Mars, how dare you? I developed a revolutionary method of atheist apologetics to combat, to fight a valiant battle against people like you. People that just want sin and evil to exist outside of a conceptual nature, and you're doing everything you can to spread that vile incoherency.
Okay, well, it's been nice talking to you guys. You're a funny guy, Taco. God bless everyone. Have a good day.
Hey, P. Mars, thank you for your time today.